On my clock here, this is Adam Wason, Public Works Director for the City of Bloomington. It is February 14th, 2023, and this is the regularly scheduled Board of Public Works meeting. We're taking place at City Hall today. We also have the Zoom link as part of the agenda. If you're a member of the public and you're online or a petitioner on the Zoom link, we'll be able to unmute you as your agenda items come up. If you're a member of the public that wants to offer public comment for any of the agenda items, please use the raise hand function or the chat function on Zoom. And otherwise, are we all set up there? Perfect. I'll turn it over to Kyla Cox-Deckard, Board President for the Board of Public Works.
Thank you. I call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Public Works this Tuesday, February 14th of 2023. First up, we have messages from board members. Do we have any messages from the board this evening? All right. Next up is petitions and remonstrances. If we have anyone who would like to make a public comment on something not on the agenda this evening, now is the opportunity to do so. If you are on Zoom, you can use the raised hand function or the chat function to indicate that you'd like to make a comment. If you're in person, you can approach the microphone. All right, seeing none. Next is the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda is the approval of minutes for January 31st of 2023, the 2023 service agreement with Precision Concrete, Inc. to remove sidewalk trip hazards, Resolution 2023-06, International Festival, Resolution 2023-07, Declaration of Surplus by Bloomington Police Department, and approval of payroll. Do we have any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda this evening? Seeing none. Is there any public comment on anything within the consent agenda? Again, if you're on Zoom, raised hand function or chat function will let us know that you'd like to make a comment. All right. Seeing none, is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I move that we approve tonight's consent agenda for February 14th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up is new business. First under new business is contract with J.R. Ellington Tree Experts for the West 1st Street Tree Removal Project.
This project includes clearing trees from the right-of-way on West 1st Street between Maple and College Avenue. Bids were opened at a public meeting on December 19th, 2022, and the city received 4 bids. J.R. Ellington Tree Experts was the lowest responsive and responsible bidder at $10,800. To comply with the project's environmental requirements, the trees should be removed between November 15th and March 31st to reduce negative impacts to potential bat habitat. Pending contract approval, this tree removal work is expected to begin this month. There were a couple questions in the work session that I wanted to follow up on. There was a question about whether the trees are located generally in the tree plots. And first, I should clarify that this is actually tree removal for 2 separate infrastructure projects. So one is for our 1st Street reconstruction project, and the other is Phase 1 East related to the Legacy Hospital redevelopment. So it's the same area adjacent to 1st Street, but the north side of 1st Street, the block bounded by 1st, Rogers, 2nd, and Morton. There's tree removal within that block as well. So the trees in that block, of course, are not in a tree plot. They're in the middle of that block. The trees adjacent to 1st Street, some of them are in an actual tree plot. Some of them are if the sidewalk is directly adjacent to the street, the trees are behind it. In some areas, there is no sidewalk. But generally, those trees are, adjacent-ish to the road as well. There was also a question about notification to adjacent owners. So the city is the adjacent owner for the majority of this area, the hospital site, for example. For the other properties, there was right-of-way acquisition involved. So during that process, there's a lot of communication with the owner. They see the plans. In most cases, the tree actually would have been acquired from that owner, and the city would have to pay for that tree. There was one adjacent owner where a tree is being removed where there was not right-of-way acquisition, and staff did directly reach out to that owner to make sure that they were aware. Staff supports the contract approval, and I would be happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item?
Thanks.
Any public comment on this item? Again, if you're on Zoom, you can use the raised hand function or the chat function to let us know you'd like to make a comment. All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the contract with J.R. Ellington Tree Experts for the West First Street Tree Removal Project. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thanks. Next is request from Goodman Construction for lane closure at 1800 North Walnut Street. This is February 20th of 2023 through March 31st of 2023.
Paul Gerber with engineering. Goodman Construction is continuing work on the development project at 1800 North Walnut Street. And they will be abandoning a city water main. And to complete that work, they're requesting a lane closure on North Walnut from 19th to the bypass, just adjacent to their site. And the lane closure is planned for February 20th through March 31st, 2023. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions on this item? Any public comment on this item? All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the request from Goodman Construction for lane closure at 1800 North Walnut Street from February 20th, 2023 to March 31st, 2023. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next is request from Gillette General Contracting for lane and sidewalk closures on South Grant.
Paul Kerber with engineering again. Gillette General Contractors is requesting lane and an extension of a street closure on South Grant Street at the intersection of East 4th Street. They'll be completing storm sewer work with their annex development project. The storm sewer will go from the north edge of their project along Grant to the intersection of 4th Street and then tie into a manhole in the center of the intersection. They're requesting to extend their current full closure on Grant up to 4th Street. And then on 4th Street, the eastbound lane will be closed from Lincoln to Grant. On 4th Street, the westbound will be right turn only onto Grant. And then southbound Grant will be right turn only onto 4th. They're planning to start on Monday, February 20th. The closure will be 3 days. They anticipate getting it done before that. And then they're also requesting a separate 2-week sidewalk closure. This is along the north side of 3rd Street. This will be east of Grant, so they can work on the facade of that building. And that closure will be in place from February 20th to March 5th, 2023. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions from the board on this item? And I know I asked this yesterday in the work session, but just to confirm, the 4th Street sidewalk is not being closed, it's just the lane.
Right. Yeah.
Any public comment on this item? Okay. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the request from Gillette General Contracting for lane and sidewalk closures on South Grant. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thanks. Next is a request from AEG for lane and sidewalk closures.
Jason Kerr with Engineering. Have 2 permits being requested tonight by AEG for lane closures and sidewalk closures. This is usual that we've had in the past for part of the citywide fiber project. This is ongoing. These 2 areas are involving North Kinzer Pike and South Ashwood Drive. Happy to answer any questions about this subject.
Thank you. Questions on this item?
Just our regular check-in to make sure that AEG has been responsive if there have been any issues with residents.
Yes, they have. They've been very responsive, actually, with it. Very quick to respond.
Any public comment on this item? No comment on Zoom. Okay. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the request from AEG for lane and sidewalk closures.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up is a request from CenterPoint Energy for street and sidewalk closures along South Rockport Road.
Jason Kerr again with engineering. Miller Pipeline doing construction for CenterPoint Energy is requesting a road closure for approximately 10 days. This will be on Rockport Road, west of the Rogers signalized intersection to just Duncan Street or Road, I'm not sure what it's called, Duncan there. Again, they're looking for possibly 10 days, possibly sooner with the full closure there. There's been some questions yesterday from the work session. I do have some information on that. MCCSC will be able to reroute most of their buses. There are a couple that they cannot, just with stops within the area. A lot of the construction is within the sidewalk area and a lane of parking with equipment to do such work. And they will be allowed to open that to allow these buses through. I did allow them, or did give them the times to when to expect the buses as well. They said that would not be a problem. Another item brought up was they're contacting, there's one house that has a driveway directly involved with the project and the convenience store, of course. CenterPoint plans on talking to them directly with that. We'll also be putting this in our inroad system to notify people, as well as Hand is going to help us with this and put it out to the neighborhoods in that area as well through a mass email type of a situation. So that should help with that. Last thing that I did verify with them, that it will be open on the weekend and evenings and nights as well.
I'm still scrolling in my packet. Can you remind me, what is the end time for their work during the day? I'll get to it here in just a second, but it's taken me.
I think he wrote 7:30 to 5, I believe.
Okay,
So,
great.
Application says 7 to 5:30?
7 to
oh, maybe I had the half hour wrong. It was within that time frame, yeah.
All right. And has there been communication to Bloomington Transit?
I gave CenterPoint that information. I'm not sure if he's contacted him. I told him that he needs to, so I'm sure that they probably have by now. I can always reiterate that to him tomorrow as well.
Any other questions from the board? Okay. Any public comment on this item? Okay. Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the request from CenterPoint Energy for street and sidewalk closures along South Rockport Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up is request from Red Truck Bloomington LLC to place a dumpster in the right-of-way at 402 and 406 West 6th Street. This is March 6th of 2023, up to 90 days.
Jason Kerr again with engineering. This is, again, for Red Truck Bloomington LLC, requesting a dumpster placement within the 4 parking spaces of 402 and 406 East 6th Street. This is for some renovations due to a couple houses there and some work that they're doing on the Big Woods restaurant as well. Again, starting March 6th, I believe, is when they're wanting to start it, maybe sooner. It was brought up to them about the graduation, having the dumpster there, and they said they can remove it within that time frame. If we can get the permit passed, they may be able to start sooner and be done even prior to that, possibly. So that shouldn't be an issue with graduation.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
Is that any concern if we're voting on something or approving a permit that's dated March 6th, that they would start earlier than that? Or is that?
No, I don't see an issue.
I don't see an issue with that.
Closure's getting approved.
Okay.
Or the, yep.
Getting approved there,
And then they'll work with parking enforcement because those are metered spaces as well.
yes. Correct.
Any Any other questions on this item? Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the request from Red Truck Bloomington LLC to place a dumpster in the right-of-way at 402 and 406 West 6th Street from March 6, 2023, for up to 90 days.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up is concrete materials contract with Irving Materials, Inc.
Adam Wason on behalf of Joe Van Devender at the Street Division. We solicited quotes for concrete materials. Irving Materials Incorporated were the only responsive bidders. That is for Class A concrete at $144 per cubic yard. Class A concrete with 2% calcium at $151 per yard. Class A with reinforcement, $151 per yard. A trip charge of $250 if it's less than 4 yards of concrete, $20 per load environmental charge, and the winter service fee additional of $5 per yard. We request the board's approval for accepting this quote.
Just to clarify, on the staff report,
It says 1,440. Yes, it's $144 per yard, not, yes.
I was
Typo
glancing
there.
over at my colleague's notes, trying to see what it was from yesterday, since I was reading and she was writing, but.
Yes,
okay.
typo in the staff report, but it's $144 per yard.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. Any questions on this item? All right. Any public comment on this item? Okay. Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the concrete materials contract with Irving Materials, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up is asphalt materials contract with E&B Paving, Inc., primary, and Milestone Contractors, LP, secondary.
Yep, Adam Wason again, on behalf of Joe Van Devender. We received our asphalt bids yesterday and opened those during the work session. E&B and Milestone were the lone submitters for that. We're asking to have E&B approved as the primary and Milestone as the backup.
Questions on this item? Any public comment on this item?
No comment on Zoom.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the asphalt materials contract with E&B Paving, Inc., primary, and Milestone Contractors, LP, secondary.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next up is staff reports and other business.
Adam Wason, Public Works Director. Nothing major to report this evening. We've had some good run with the weather and trying to get caught up with the Fleet Maintenance Division with all things down there. Going through quite a few different hiring processes right now and kind of getting ramped up ready for the springtime. So we are going to run a adoption special. I think we're going to waive fees on all dogs this weekend, trying to get some space cleared out at the shelter. If you're looking for that forever friend, we have we have them down at the shelter right now. They've really taken an influx of animals, and so could use some relief down there. So go take a look at all the available cats, dogs, and other animals. That's all for today.
Next up is approval of claims. Are there any questions on claims?
No.
Any public comment on claims?
No comment on Zoom.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve claims in the amount of $3,187,446.57.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. If there is nothing else, then I will call for adjournment.